fine. So let's take a look again at this video of former Vice President Dick Cheney. If you are just joining us, we are continuing with our coverage of breaking news. Former Vice President Dick Cheney has passed away at the age of 84. He was the 46th vice president, and he served alongside President George W. Bush. He was known as a chief architect in the war in Iraq after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And on that very day, he was at the White House alone. He was by himself, and he ordered the administration's first response to the attack. Now, he has a long history in the White House and serving in politics as well. He was Gerald Ford's chief of staff 3 decades earlier. He also served under his president, George W. Bush's father, George H.W. Bush, as the defense secretary. Before that, he also served as in the House of Representatives. He served in Wyoming, but he was actually born in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now, over the years, Cheney had various health issues. That includes multiple heart attacks, and in 2012, he actually received a heart transplant himself. He is being survived by his wife, Lynn, his daughters, Liz and Mary. He also has 7 grandchildren in his family as well. Cheney served for 8 years under President George W. Bush and as defense secretary under his father, George H.W. Bush, before that. And before that, he served as in the U.S. House as a representative from Wyoming and White House Chief of Staff President Gerald Ford. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about his time on 9/11 because, of course, that was a defining moment of not just his time as vice president, but America as well. So during the September 11th attacks, Cheney was taken to a White House bunker. Now, reflecting on that day back in 2009, this is a quote from Dick Cheney. He said, "I've heard occasional speculation that I'm a different man after 9/11. I wouldn't say that, but I'll freely admit that watching a coordinated, devastating attack on our country from an underground bunker at the White House can affect how you view your responsibilities." Now, in the days after that, Cheney initially told NBC's Meet the Press that the U.S. response should be aimed at Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda, not Iraq. Bob Woodward, though, later wrote in his book, Bush at War, that while Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld lobbied for military strikes on Iraq, Cheney also expressed deep concern about Saddam Hussein and would not rule out going after Iraq at some point. So, of course, that was a defining moment of his time in office as the vice president. He was the 46th vice president serving with President George W. Bush. So, again, if you're just joining us one more time, we're following breaking news that Vice President Dick Cheney has passed away. He was 84 years old. He was the 46th vice president serving with George W. Bush. Before that, he served in the Gerald Ford administration as well as George H.W. Bush. And he was a member of the House of Representatives representing Wyoming. Another thing, of course, a tie to Nebraska. He was actually born here in Lincoln. He's being survived by his wife, Lynn, his daughters, Liz and Mary, and 7 grandchildren as well. So we just wanted to bring you this update here. Of course, this is something that we're going to be following all day long in the coming days. We're waiting to hear reaction from many leaders here in America. And once we hear those and learn more about their thoughts on this, we will let you know these as well. So again, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm Maria Cade reporting here at the Alert Center.